I'm proposing a new theory of superconductivity. So to get started on this, first I want to point out the meaning of the ohm. And for this, the units of measure are now being given an abstract treatment for physics. Here I'm using the mass equals area theory. And here we see a table in which mass is shown here in a row of square meters and a column of seconds to the 0 power. So we see the horizontal axis then has the time powers, and the vertical axis has the distance powers. So mass equals area, square meters. So that means then force becomes acceleration times square meters. So that means it would be then over here cubic meters per second squared over here. So that's force at the intersection of seconds to the minus 2 power and meters to the 3 power. So using that definition then, we look at electricity in ohms. And for that, the 8-dimensional physics comes in handy. We go right to the electricity continuum, and the horizontal scale, once again, is the second powers, and the vertical is the distance in the electricity continuum. So we see here now the Coulomb is now square meters because of the force equation. If you run the ordinary physics equations for Coulomb forces, you'll see that the Newton of force then is bringing coulombs to become also square meters to make everything work out correctly. And then we see that an ampere then is a coulomb per second, or square meters per second here. And then we're going to find out the ohm, which of course is volts divided by current. And so now the volt here is a potential, square meters per square second, divided by the current. And the result is then ohm is per second. The row it's in is meters to the 0 power, and ohm is in the column for seconds to the minus 1. So that means per second. Something's happening per second. Collisions per second is one first guess that I made, but the new theory is saying that electron pairing is what's going on here, which is important, and that is then going into the theory shown here in this picture. On top is a conductor of copper, and on the bottom is the flat superconducting film, like mercury at 1 degree Kelvin. And in the top we see ordinarily the copper is holding electrons marked E1 through E3, and those are paired with protons P1 through P3. And as they flow across, they go to new pairs. So E1 will become paired with the next proton, P2. And as electrons flow past, there's these new pairings per second. That's what the ohm is. New pairings per second. Not collisions per second, but the pairing of these 3 dimensions as explained in an earlier talk. Now, in the superconductor, it's different. The pairing is not changing per second. It's the same pair. So as electron E5 is flowing to the right, it's still connected to proton P5, even though it's closer to proton P7. So it has not formed a new pairing. So 0 new pairs were formed as this current is flowing to the right. These electrons are flowing to the right here. And it's like a ribbon, a bunch of ribbons flowing around this circuit in a circle. And these are splines, membranes that have no thickness. So as they stack up many times thick without taking up space in the actual superconductor film. Now, another thing I wanted to point is that my name's Alan Folmsby, and I'm in Hawaii, and this is a small part of the theory of enough. And you can go to more information on this, like at this impuremath.wordpress.com. That has the talk about the splines, the membranes that I've been pointing out here. All right, we're about done now. Let's just look one more time at the superconductor. And it's like 3 dimensions, connect a proton to an electron, and the pairing is not changing. The same pair remains going around the circuit, looping around the whole circuit without changing to a different pairing of an electron to a different proton. So that's why there's no resistance. 0 re-pairings per second.